Stop for a second and imagine checking your bank accounts. And instead of feeling that familiar jolt of panic or dread, you actually feel a wave of relief. Not because you suddenly became a millionaire or landed a six-figure windfall, but because you finally crossed a single life-altering milestone. Here's the truth that almost every finance influencer skips. There's a specific number. The first $20,000 in savings. That transforms your entire relationship with money. And get this, thousands of everyday people in their 20s and 30s have quietly crossed this mark over the past few years, watching their confidence and opportunities explode. You might think it's all about hitting $1 million or climbing your way to some magical six-figure benchmark. But the moment you see that $20,000, the rules change. Why, I'm about to walk you through the untold psychology, the math, and the 4 exact steps that get you there far faster than you think. Every month you wait could cost you thousands more in future wealth. Ani. So let's unlock exactly how to hit your $20,000 freedom buffer. Starting right now. Let's get right into it, because what most financial advice misses is that truly life-changing financial freedom starts with a lot less than $1 million. For most people, aiming for that $1 million or mythical six-figure net worth can feel so far off that it actually keeps you stuck. What I want to show you today is how crossing the $20,000 savings mark is the biggest psychological and practical game-changer you'll ever experience. And it works even if you're starting from zero. Thousands of people in the Money Masters community have gone from barely scraping by to complete career and life flexibility, all while using 4 simple, actionable steps. Let me quickly break down what we're going to cover today. And if even one step opens your eyes, hit that thumbs up. It helps more people escape the financial stress trap. Here's the roadmap for our session. First, we'll dig deep into why $20,000, not $1 million, is the real financial threshold that shifts you from constant anxiety to true freedom. Second, I'll walk you step by step through the exact 4-step framework I give my community for reliably hitting $20,000, including the right account types and habits that make it feel automatic. Third, we'll get hands-on with the math. How compound interest and the cost of waiting can literally cost you thousands in lost future wealth visualized so you can see why delay is so expensive. Fourth, we'll share 2 short, real-world case studies from our subscribers, showing just how fast this psychological and financial freedom hits when you cross that mark. Finally, I'll give you my free $20,000 checklist download so you can get started on your journey today. So, let's unlock the first chapter, the invisible money milestone almost nobody sees coming. Why does $20,000 matter so much? Picture this. When you're living below that number, maybe with only a couple $100 in your account, or less, every single purchase feels like an existential crisis. You debate if you can afford a $4 coffee, or you stress that a $120 grocery run could set you back for weeks. Every decision is survival-focused. Can I make rent? Will my card be declined? But when you hit $20,000, it's like cresting the top of a mountain. That's not just feel-good psychology. It's backed by research. According to Vanguard, simply getting to $2,000 in emergency savings increases your reported financial well-being by 21%. That's how powerful even a small buffer is. But push that emergency fund up to 3 to 6 months of living expenses, which is roughly $20,000 for the typical American household, according to the Federal Reserve's 2023 Survey of Consumer Finances. You get another 13% boost in financial well-being. More importantly, You finally stop living only for the next paycheck. Let's put this early lesson into action. Comment below, what's the closest you've ever gotten to an emergency fund or savings buffer? Even if it was just $500, that counts. Drop your number and inspire someone who needs hope. Now, before I reveal the 4 steps to hitting $20,000, let's expose the myth that wealthy people have access to some secret investment club. It's not true. The real difference isn't access. It's what hitting that first meaningful milestone does to your mindset and your math. Everything you do financially up to $20,000 feels like pushing a massive boulder up a steep hill. Sweat, effort, and progress so slow you wonder if it's even working. But once you crest past that $20,000, suddenly gravity works in your favor. Imagine you save $1,000 per month, invested in a plain vanilla index fund at a historical average of 8% a year. According to Fidelity's retirement planning calculator, getting from $0 to $20,000 takes just under 19 months. Grit and discipline. Or shortcut. But here's where it gets wild. That next $20,000. You hit it in just 17 months. The third $20,000 milestone, down to 15 months. This is the compounding effect most people underestimate. Even people who think they get investing. Let's visualize this. On screen, you'd see a simple line graph. Your first $20,000 is this slow, painful climb. But after that, the line curves up faster, even though you haven't changed a thing about your habits. If you wait a single year before starting, according to Pew Research, just waiting 12 months to get serious about saving costs, the average American over $3,000 in missed future compounding after a decade. Don't let that be you. Every month counts. All right, here's what you've been waiting for. The 4-step blueprint to your first $20,000. Grab a pen, and if you want a downloadable version, check the link in the description for my free Money Masters $20,000 checklist. Ready? Step 1. Know your real bare-bones minimum. Before you do anything else, you need to calculate your rock-bottom monthly expenses. The absolute essentials. Rent or mortgage, utilities, food, insurance, transportation, non-negotiable minimum loan payments. Don't guess. Pull up your last 3 months of statements. Yes, seriously, do it. And write down the lowest possible number you could survive on if you had to. For most of my audience, this is somewhere between $2,500 and $3,500 per month. If yours is higher, that's okay. Your number may simply take a bit longer to reach. Multiply that by 3 to 6, depending on your own risk comfort. If you want the security of a half-year's buffer, $3,000 times 6 equals $18,000. Round up to $20,000 to give yourself breathing room for inflation or an unexpected emergency. You now have a target that is rooted in your real-life expenses, not a generic number. Step 2. Automate your savings. No willpower required. The most reliable way to hit your $20,000 milestone is to make it automatic. Use bank tools like recurring transfers or direct deposit splits to route money to a high-yield savings account or brokerage as soon as you get paid, before you even see it. According to a study by the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, people who automate their savings are 37% more likely to build a 3-month emergency fund within 2 years compared to those who rely on memory or motivation alone. For example, if your target is to save $800 per month, set up that transfer to hit your savings every payday. As for where to keep it, Use an FDIC-insured high-yield savings account or a money market fund for your first $20,000 buffer. And consider simple index funds for your long-term growth beyond the emergency fund. If you've ever set up an automatic transfer, even $5, drop a thumbs up or tell us your system in the comments. Step 3. Let compounding do the heavy lifting. Here's where the real architect of your wealth, compound interest, takes over. The formula isn't secret. FV equals PMT times open parenthesis 1 plus R to the n minus 1. Close parenthesis divided by where PMT is your monthly savings, R is your monthly interest rate, and n is the number of months. Here's a quick demonstration. If you save $1,000 a month at 8% annual return, or about 0.67% per month, in 19 months you reach about $20,000. But start a year earlier, or increase your monthly savings by just $200, and you could hit your milestone up to 4 months faster. Miss even small monthly contributions, and compounding works against you. Visualize this with another chart. 2 lines. $1,000 per month started today versus the same started a year later, with a huge gap by year 10. Opportunity cost is real, and it's the hidden killer of wealth building. But there's an even bigger psychological benefit to compounding that nobody talks about. Stay with me. It's coming up after our final step. Step 4. Defend your buffer like your future depends on it, because it does. The biggest mistake I see, after helping thousands in the Money Masters community, is hitting $20,000 and then immediately blowing it on a big purchase or lifestyle upgrade. New car, expensive vacation, or putting it toward a house you're actually not ready for. Instead, lock in that buffer as sacred. Set up a virtual savings wall. Move it to a separate bank. Label the account Do Not Touch Future Freedom. And track your balance monthly using tools like Mint or Personal Capital. The CFPB found that people who track their net worth at least monthly are 42% more likely to reach their emergency fund target than those who don't. That simple visibility is a massive psychological firewall. At this point, you've done what 70% of Americans haven't. Created a 6-month cushion against financial chaos. Let's recap those 4 steps. 1. Know your true minimum living expenses. 2. Automate your savings. 3. Harness compounding. 4. Defend your buffer. So, what actually changes when you cross that $20,000 mark? Let's check in on 2 real-world examples from our community. Names changed for privacy. First, meet Sarah, single mom, age 31. After years of paycheck-to-paycheck stress, Sarah followed these 4 steps, hit her $20,000 buffer in under 20 months, and finally felt secure enough to leave a toxic job. Here's what she wrote a month later. For the first time in years, I can sleep at night. I negotiated a better salary because I wasn't desperate. And I finally took my son on a weekend trip without worrying. Second, Mike, recent grad, now 27. Started with less than $500 to his name and hit $20,000 in 25 months by aggressively automating $800 per month into a high-yield savings account, Mike says. I finally stopped obsessing over every little expense. Date nights, a new laptop, car repairs, none of that derails me anymore. Both Sarah and Mike experience the same pattern you will. Crossing this threshold isn't just about the number, it is about identity. Where are you on your $20,000 journey? If you've saved even $500, drop a comment with your milestone. Let's see our community hit $1 million in total buffer savings this year. You've now seen exactly how to map the steps, why the timeline shrinks, and what changes on the other side. Let's go deeper into the psychology, and then zoom back out to the big numbers. Here's what most blogs and finance experts miss. When you operate below $20,000, your entire brain is running on survival mode. You're forced to take the first job offer. You're locked into bad housing, toxic bosses, or saying yes to things you hate. Because there's no safety net to catch you. The cost isn't just about money. It's your time, your mental health, your ability to take real, calculated risks. According to a 2022 study from the Center for Financial Services Innovation, 58% of Americans say a $400 unexpected expense would be a major hardship. No wonder they stay trapped. Every emergency feels catastrophic. But at $20,000, your brain finally switches gears. You shift from reacting to designing your life. Bills are paid. Emergencies are shrugged off. Suddenly, when your boss asks for something unreasonable, you have options, because you don't have to fear missing one paycheck. This is what I call walking away money. You could easily quit a toxic job, take weeks to find something better, or jump on an opportunity that requires a leap of faith. You're negotiating from strength, not desperation. You can say no, explore better work, or simply hold out for a job you actually want. Most people don't realize how much their work life improves when they hit $20,000. I'll show you exactly how this leads to better pay and promotions in less than 2 minutes. Let's quickly tackle the classic objections. First, is it all just easier for trust fund kids? Sure, having family money or zero debt helps. But everyone who accumulates $20,000 goes through the same 4 steps. They're not magical, they're mechanical. Low earners just take a little more time, but the outcome is the same. Second, what about inflation? That's why you want your buffer in accounts that at least keep up with or outpace inflation. Hence, high-yield accounts or conservative investment products instead of cash under the mattress. Third objection, why not just focus on investing from day one? Because if you don't have an emergency fund, every market downturn is a crisis. You get forced to sell at the worst time, locking in losses. The buffer is the foundation of serious long-term investing. Here's the most actionable visual of all. If you have $20,000 invested and it grows at 8% per year, that's $1,600 every year in potential gains. Money you did not trade your time for. If markets drop and you leave it alone, historically, according to Vanguard 2023, markets rebound. $20,000 is your seat at the table for real compounding. Let's run the actual math. Imagine you buy a $30,000 car instead of investing it. Over 20 years at 8%. You give up over $140,000 in wealth. That new car loses 20% of its value right off the lot. But $20,000 safely invested puts you on the road to financial independence. Visualize 2 people. One drives a 5-year-old Honda, invests the difference, and ends up with 6 figures in quiet wealth. The other is stuck paying $600 per month, stressing every payment, and delaying retirement by years. This is not a knock on cars. It's just a strategic choice once you're playing from a position of strength. At this turning point, your priorities shift. No more agonizing over $4 lattes or penny-pinching cereal. Big decisions become the focus. Housing, transportation, savings rate, investing strategies. As you automate and defend your buffer, you graduate from scarcity thinking. While $20,000 is not financial independence, it is true financial agility. You're no longer at the mercy of every setback. You act with intention, moving toward the life you want, not reacting out of fear. As you move beyond this milestone, you'll find the same principle repeats at higher numbers. $100,000, $400,000, each crest. Compounding works harder. Eventually, your investments generate more in a few months than you used to save in a year. Here's your next step. Download my free $20,000 checklist at the link below to get a written walkthrough of every action step, plus a sample monthly plan. If you get value from this, share the checklist with a friend who's still feeling stuck. And when you see exactly how hundreds in our community use that checklist to finally crush the $20,000 barrier, you'll wish you started a year ago. Results may vary. This is for educational purposes, not individual finance advice. Always consult a licensed professional for your situation. Let's wrap up with a quick recap. Today, we shattered the myth that wealth starts at $1 million, and instead saw how the first $20,000 in savings is the truest unlock for opportunity, confidence, and freedom. Together, we broke the journey into 4 clear steps. Know your real minimum expenses. Automate savings, harness simple compounding, and defend your buffer at all costs. Crossing this mark doesn't just change your money. It rewires your entire life playbook and finally shifts you from surviving to thriving. Here's what to do next. Today, calculate your real monthly essentials. Write down every bill and get your monthly baseline. This week, set up or increase an automatic transfer, even a tiny amount, directly into an account you won't touch. Within 30 to 90 days, aim to have 1 full month of living expenses set aside. A milestone worth celebrating. Over the next 6 to 12 months, keep tracking your net worth using a free tool. Adjust your automation upward when possible. And watch as the $20,000 milestone gets closer and closer. Everything you need, from account labels to milestone checklists, is in the free $20,000 blueprint. Get it from the description now. You'll start seeing major peace of mind and real options in as little as 3 months. When you hit your first month cushion, but the full compounding engine kicks in by 12 to 18 months, depending on your savings rate. Remember, the results are not guaranteed or uniform. Progress depends on your consistency and circumstances. But every step matters, and delay does have a real cost. For the next video, we'll go deeper, breaking down how to structure your investment portfolio once your emergency buffer is in place, with real-world numbers and historical risk and reward data. Subscribe to Money Masters and hit the bell. Don't miss that breakdown. Drop a comment below telling me what your first savings milestone will be, or who you'll send the free checklist to. And finally, remember, what we covered today is for educational purposes, not personal finance advice. Always consult a licensed advisor before making major money moves. Your future self will thank you.